in and kind of make a virtual and in-person studio happen.
Looking forward to it.
I'm excited. It's 2 o'clock. Mike, let's start the tour. I'm gonna go over here. We're gonna do it. Okay. Hey guys, this is time for a little studio tour. We have been working on this pretty hard, so I want to show you guys. Let's go. So, welcome to our studio. It's been about 1.5 to 2 years, Mike, that we've been here. It's literally, I want to show some footage of where we started, but this was a office for lawyers. All the walls and everything were just pale, and literally it was just an office building. So we painted the walls black. That's pretty standard in production studios. This is like a black chalk. And then over here, we put up brick wallpaper. So we put up some brick wallpaper, and that was kind of the start. Now I knew that we wanted to have a stand-up desk area, so this is our stand-up desk over here. It's a nice kind of D-shaped stand-up desk table with a television, and I usually have my laptop here. I also have, we'll look at all of this in more detail, but just high level, we've got lights on like every corner. As you start to build your studio, you realize you need a lot more lights than you think. So we tried to put all the lights up on the walls, so there's at least some floor space here. So in this video, we're going to look at the streaming production area, the new podcasting area that we have here, and then we'll take a look at the stand-up desk area over here as well. Let's start at the production area. All right, welcome to Mike's production desk here. Essentially, he can see everything, so he can see right over there. I can kind of talk to him. He's got 2 monitors in front of him, plus there's a confidence monitor on the wall, so I can see what he's up to. So essentially, this little full screen button here in Vmix enables either a multi-view for Mike to see all the cameras, and then enables a confidence view so I can see what's going live. You can see here we have the new Huddlecam Hd Pro Unit here. You've probably seen me use this in some of the videos. This is a really cool camera. It shoots right here so that I can do little videos right from here. So I'll take a headset microphone, put it on, put the camera on me. This is just it's a really kind of high-end webcam we're bringing in with a 4K Blackmagic capture card via HDMI. But most of the shots are PTZOptics cameras like the one you're seeing here. Those are being brought into our custom-made computer here that has 8 SDI inputs. That's 2 PCIe cards from Magewell. This was built by Tom Sinclair from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. It's definitely an i9 Intel processor with a really fast graphics card and everything. I don't know all the specs, but it's got a lot of things connected to it, including a Focusrite. This is a Scarlett 16i6, I believe. It's got 4 inputs that we use regularly. We've got an XLR for this headset. We have 2 wireless headset microphones that Tess and I use, and then we've even got like a Shure SM58 here. We barely ever use it, but it's here in case we need a guest microphone if we have guests in the studio. So as you can see, we're running Vmix. Vmix can quickly and easily grab control of any of these cameras over the Ethernet. So we literally can pan, tilt, and zoom very quickly. So Mike is generally just popping into Vmix and controlling these cameras really quickly and easily. That camera's got the focus lock on. Now, so that's all there. It's all well and good. Mike usually will log into like YouTube or Facebook over here, check the streams, pop the stream keys in, start streaming, and then he's just connecting all the dots over here. Now, one of the cool things about our studio is that we've got at least 3 or 4 NDI inputs at any time. So for example, here's our NDI, all of our NDI sources. One that we've been using a lot is simply a smartphone. So we'll use the new Ndi camera app here to pump video directly into Vmix. This has been a great tool. I'll show you what that looks like. See, look, you can see it actually right here. Boom. Now you can kind of see different things and see the background. It works really, really well, so we're doing some cool stuff with that. We can also bring in the NDI from the podcasting room as well. So we're going to take a look in a minute here. The podcasting studio, that's a whole separate computer and 4 SDI inputs. We decided to move it into here for space reasons, but it's really cool. Let's take a look at the podcasting studio. All right, welcome to our 4-person podcasting studio. Starting off with the microphones, we have the Shure SMB7 microphones. These are really nice. We used to have them on arms where you could kind of stretch them out, but when you're doing podcasting with video, those arms really got distracting and in the way, and you guys know that. So we put them on these little desktop mounts, which are actually much less expensive, and they take up a little bit less of a footprint, if you will. This is my cool new little keyboard tray here that I have, and then we run Vmix right from here. We have the whole thing working on an X-Keys controller, so we can just plug in sound effects and different things throughout our broadcast. The cameras we're using over here are the new PTZOptics ePTZ cameras. So they have 2 SDI outputs. One is the wide angle view and one is a virtual digitally zoomed in view. So it has a 4K sensor. So we've got, if you can see here, we've got 2 of them. And we've got them on these arms here. So one shoots over here and one shoots over here. So we can actually have a wide view and 2 or 3 zoomed in presets that are still in 1080p to capture all 4 of the podcasters. Now we're using the Rodecaster Pro to bring in all 4 of the Shure SMB microphones into Vmix, which then is sent totally over NDI to the main broadcast computer. So this is its own Windows computer, and obviously we're using like VST3 plugins to really make the audio sound good within the podcast. The Rodecaster Pro does some basic stuff, but then we add Waves plugins to do some noise suppression and a little bit of compression on the audio output. So it's a video streaming and podcasting area over here. A lot of people like to do this. So you guys know in our show, the main broadcasting place over there, which we'll look at in a second, is the beginning of the show. We do a lot of video-heavy presentations and live demonstrations. But this area is more for like podcasting, reflection, breaking down in the podcast. So it's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to start using it more now that it's here in the studio. Let's take a look at the broadcast area. I can't hear you. Oh wait, I can hear you. That's because I have a in-ear monitor system. So anytime that I'm here in the studio, I have a wireless lapel microphone, or not lapel, headset microphone. This is a DPA D-Fi microphone. It's really, really nice. So essentially, I'll drop this pack down my back, put this on, so I've got this here, and I'm pretty much just, boop, Mike's got my wireless video. That way I can move around a little bit. I'm not tethered in any way. This has always been great. And then this here is the audio output from our main broadcast system. So I can hear everybody on Zoom, and everybody on Zoom can hear me. So it's really nice when we do Zoom calls, but even in our live streams, we've been incorporating more Zoom calls. Now, one of the biggest questions we get is how do we do those really cool videos where we have the whole Zoom meeting up in a grid view and Mike is actually bringing things together. So this computer here, this Windows laptop, it's about 4 years old, but it does have an i7 processor, and it was my baby for a long time. I just put it in the studio now. It's connected to the network, like hardwired to the Ethernet network. And basically I do an NDI capture of anything on this screen. So when we do our presentations, I do Google Slides a lot, and boom, I got my presentations, and Mike captures those via NDI and incorporates them into our broadcast. The same thing is true when I'm running Zoom. So I'll run Zoom on this computer. I won't connect to it with video or audio, but I will turn it into grid view and put it up here. And it was one of those things we just discovered. And we were like, whoa, look at that. We can show the person in grid view in Zoom here, and then on the main computer we show them in speaker view, and it's a really cool combination of technology. So that's really awesome. So we're always capturing everything from NDI here, transporting it over there. We'll take one more peek at how that looks over in the computer screen in a moment. This is a Windows tablet. This is not cheap, actually. It was like $1,000, and you got to be careful with these because you can drop them and shatter them. But I run like 2 or 3 things on this that makes the broadcast really great. One is, this is the Vmix Controller. So with this, I can quickly switch to any input I like. So during the coronavirus, during quarantine, I was here alone streaming for like 2 or 3 months, and I did all of my switching right here. You get every single input in Vmix. You can decide whether you want to put them in preview or output, and you can choose if they're on an overlay or not. Now, combine that with Vmix Social. This is a social media integration where you can integrate Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. I can show up comments as well, plus I can keep an eye on the comments. So when I'm sitting here going like this, I'm keeping an eye on the comments. It combines all the comments together. I'm showing them up on the live stream, and maybe I'm switching cameras and inputs, so that's pretty cool. And then finally, the last thing I do on here is there's an application called Ndi Telestrator. This actually allows me to draw on Ndi inputs, and it's just kind of like a telestration tool. It's cool because you can annotate on top of like high definition video inputs and outputs, whereas with like Zoom and things like that, generally you can just like screen share and annotate on top of that. So this is a really professional annotation tool. I really like it. You can put like arrows and stuff. It's super awesome. So that's that. Other than that, you know, we've got a little hair light here. Hair lights are great. We've got some lights that shoot up, a little up arrow. And then this is my close-up Zcam. These cameras people really love. They're only $4.99. There's an Ndi version, and they have SDI, PoE using Ethernet. And basically, you can set these up with a variable lens there to get really close up focused definition. It's a fixed lens, but I can bring, you know, a product or a camera real close up and folks can see it. So that's my Zcam there. Now, I want to finally show over at the production studio how important this computer is as a producer, as a, yeah, I call myself a producer. I'm the on-screen talent. I'm not the main producer, but I'm producing this presentation screen and video that is part of the production. So it's interesting how whatever I do here does become part of the production. Not to mention, I have switching capabilities here too, which sometimes I'll switch the cameras on Mike. I know he doesn't like that. He likes full control over there. But I certainly have some interesting production tools here. The final tool, actually, before I leave here, is that I'm also sometimes a cameraman. We looked at the Ndi camera input itself, that sometimes I'll turn my phone into a camera input. But the other thing I'll do a lot is I have this iPhone camera controller with every camera in our studio. So sometimes I'll just reframe a camera, like, oh, I want to move the 30x around, or the ceiling camera around. I can do so just using this totally wirelessly. So I've got a lot of controls as a camera operator, a producer, a social media comment curator, and obviously as a presenter. So from right here, I have full control over the whole production. So when quarantine hit and I was all alone here, I was still producing pretty high quality streams all by myself, and it was a lot of fun. Let's take a look at the final product over there that incorporates the Ndi feed from here. Alright, so we put a lot of time into the production area, meaning graphics and overlays, and I get a lot of questions about how we set this up. So at a high level, and I just want to share this with you guys, this, you know, it's always been changing and different, but this actually came from Andrew Cuomo from New York City when he was doing his addresses about COVID-19 to the public. I was like, it's so nice where he had himself in like in the side here, and then his presentation to the right. So that's kind of where it started. And so what you're seeing here is basically a PNG overlay file that has a space for a video camera, and then that Ndi output from my laptop over there. So that's basically what that is. So when we look at the multi-view inside of Vmix, you can see there's a PNG file on top, and then underneath there's a desktop capture, well, for this one specifically, and a camera. So what we do is on this side, we actually run Zoom, and we do a desktop capture of Zoom, and we run that in speaker view. So that's where we can get the highest quality picture of the person via Zoom right there and bring it in. And this layout is me next to the person from Zoom. This layout here is me next to whatever I have on my laptop, which could be a grid view of the entire Zoom meeting, or it could be my presentation. So Mike doesn't really have any control over what is in that, but he does have full control over if he wants to go, full screen to our camera on a slider right here, or full screen with me, or if he wants to show a social media comment, or if he wants to show, maybe this is like our intro overlay. He has full control over everything except for this one NDI output. Now, this is the final one I wanted to show. So we looked at me through a 30x PTZ Optics NDI camera over here next to my NDI output from my laptop. We looked at the difference between that and then basically same camera, but now we're capturing a screen capture here. Important thing to note there is that's the speaker view. And then finally, we just combined all three of those ideas. Now we have me full screen, well, not full screen, but that's like my camera. We have the speaker view camera coming from our desktop capture of Zoom and the grid view. And that's where people's minds have been like, how are you doing that? Well, it takes two computers. The same Zoom meeting, but two computers running the same Zoom meeting from different angles, and then pulling it all together into a live stream, which we can record in HD, stream in HD, and then in the cloud, we stream to Go Easy Live, which can hit up LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch is where we generally live stream. So we hit up all those platforms and we get a really great result. That's the studio tour. Now we're gonna cut to me live so that you can ask questions and I can show other things, other details that we missed in this video. Don't worry, I'm here live. So ask your questions in the chat. I'll break out that cell phone NDI input and we'll really look at the nooks and crannies of the studio that you guys wanna see. Let's do it, guys. All right, so what did you guys think? Thank you for being here. I see your comments in the chat. I want to show one more video, and this one's just 1 minute, but this is the very first time that Tess and my wife, Lauren, started looking at the rooms. There's nothing in our office space at all, so this one's really cool. Let's show it, Mike.
In process. It's funny to get Lauren and I together here. Okay.
Strategic planning. Everything is a blank wall.
Maybe.
This is where the chief streaming officer works. Ta-da! And take you to the studio. I wanted to show this anyway. Tessa's office, Michael's office, and a completely blank studio. We are taping up what we need. That is a giant bar height broadcast table. This is going to be like a standing desk with a television. And then that over there is going to be where the broadcast desk is. Woohoo! All right, so I wanted to show you guys that as well because it really does give it some good perspective. Tess, can you believe that?
I can't believe it. And it's funny to see our tape mapped out on the floor of what would eventually be the D-shaped table. And we actually didn't end up going with the original blue tape, which was going to be like a bar setup like our old studio with the blue brick. So it's funny.
Yeah, let's so Tess, I'm gonna switch to my smartphone, but let's chat. What are your favorite parts of this studio? And we'll just kind of show folks. I'll show folks around with my smartphone. I have the NDI camera app here, and you helped build this. I want to show some of the details, Mike. So I'll try not to be too shaky with this camera. But this was something that I was so proud of, Tess. It's just wallpaper.
That's been our trick for the last two studios is wallpaper. And we see it done all the time now. Not that it was our original idea, but it's so popular now for your little studios to have like fun wallpaper behind. But people always thought it was real. So that's always been a fun little trick of ours.
This is really popular too. You see these in a lot of studios. We have on the top, I don't know if you remember what that device is called, Tess, but it shows our YouTube subscribers.
The Lumetrics or the Smurl?
Yeah, Lumetrics. And then on the bottom is the Smurl. Right?
Yeah, and we've seen that go up and up and up, and that's been kind of a fun little motivator.
It has. If anybody wants to try that, you can either like our page or unlike our page, and literally live, it will change. That's kind of cool. And this Lumetrics one at the top can do a lot of other fun, interesting things. Like it can show messages. It can, like if you get a super chat or something on YouTube, you can design it to show the person's name and play a nice little noise or thank you message. These are really fun. And I don't know if I've showed people this. I use these now. I use these so often, it's not even funny. These little paddles, like, I can hear you. I can't hear you, you know, like, and then this one's just for me, you know, I don't use this on Sunday mornings. I leave this at the office, but I use the hallelujah quite more often than you would think. These are just super fun from messagepaddle.com. There it goes. Somebody did it. Who was it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, this television wasn't obvious. We knew we wanted a nice little TV, right?
That was a big change for us, being able to display images behind us. And why didn't we think of that before?
Yeah, that was a huge upgrade for us. Oh, someone else just did it too. Now here, this was something we added later. It's just a Ptz Optics Zcam. It has an SDI output and a Ethernet output. I have this little fidget spinner, or I guess it's a fidget cube. Let me show this to you through this camera. Michael switched to it so you guys can see. Look how close it is to the camera. Isn't that kind of cool? So you can really get things real close up and still get really high quality images of them. So that's kind of cool. Another thing that's brand new that I want to show off is this Zcam slider. So this is a slider we bought, and it slowly rotates on these wheels. And it makes for the coolest shot, Mike. Why don't you show what that shot it makes? And it creates this just beautiful, slow panning shot that has become kind of like my favorite. Tess, if there's anything in the chat, by the way, that you want me to address, just let me know.
Yeah, there's lots of different questions whenever you're ready.
Yeah, hit me.
Okay. Rob was asking if we had a teleprompter and the specs of our computer for streaming.
Okay, we do not use a teleprompter. That's something that, we don't use really, to be honest. But Mike, oh look. Oh, good. Did you mute it?
Yeah.
So this is from the podcasting studio. So Mike is actually, Mike would be kind of cool. Is why don't I go ahead and use this for a second, and then you can unmute me and people can hear what it sounds like from these mics. So I'm going to mute this one.
Okay.
All right. The broadcast voice. Can everybody hear that?
Yeah.
So does it sound better? Do you think, Taz? Or Julia? I'm not sure what you guys think. Can you guys hear me? Oh, they can't even hear me, Mike, because you haven't hit the A button. The A button, I'll explain this. Everyone on the live stream can hear, but the folks in the Zoom meeting cannot hear. The reason why is because we have to choose what audio we want to send to the Zoom call. So Mike just fixed that for you, Tess and Julia and Dwayne and Dan. Does this sound better to you, this microphone setup? Or is it about the same? Or
I'd say it's about the same.
Okay.
Or even a little quieter.
Yeah, I have to look at the settings for this. I'm not sure if we have.
Alfredo's saying it's a deeper bass, less treble. Ryan saying it's less loud.
We don't have any of the plugins on. Since we're here, let me just go ahead and do this. All right. Gonna turn the noise suppression on. Sorry, we haven't played with this enough yet.
What's
right,
the
now
brand
I'm gonna add
the Zcam track?
Like bassy. Does it sound better? I don't know. It sounds better. So I just added 2 plugins.
It sounds good to me.
Let me show everybody what I just did, Mike.
But when I switch you over, I think I won't be able to hear your voice. There you go.
Okay, and then this is muted. Okay, there we go. So this is something that I love to show off. These are the VST3 plugins, and they really enhance your audio. So this is the Renaissance Axe, and then this one is the NS1, and it's a noise suppressor. So just giving you guys a quick look. But Tess, I want to focus on anybody who has questions about the studio. Just let me know.
Any chance you have a Ptz Optics webcam plugged in? You got a request to check out the view from that.
Mike, can you show? So we have 2 webcams in here. We use the little webcams at our desk. We use these Huddlecam Hd Pros in the studio. So these are a little bit higher end. Mike, why don't you show the video from this one here? This has got USB and HDMI.
So this is the Huddlecam 4K video feed, which is really good.
Yeah, it's really crisp.
Really crisp.
Here, use this to zoom it so they can kind of see. So it's 4K, so it's got a lot of in and out of zooming capabilities. You can set presets and whatnot with that camera. But that's what we're using in here just because it's a little higher end. We use the other cameras, PTZ Optics webcams in our kind of by our desks for our video calls and whatnot. So let me sit down next to you, Mike, and I'll show some of like behind the scenes from your workflow. So go ahead and cut to me, and people can kind of see from this angle. Just hit the cut button. Yeah. Boom. So this is Mike's area, and Tess, we'll just keep asking questions, but I just wanted to show kind of what Mike's up to back here.
Hey, yeah, you got a question about our Eastern Shore Broadcasting PC. What kind of computer?
Mike, hit the start button at the bottom right, the Windows start button, and then type in about. There, about your PC. Okay, go ahead and click OK. All right, here it comes. This is an i9 990CX CPU with 3.5 gigahertz. It has 32 gigabytes of RAM. It has a 64-bit operating system. It is Windows 10 Pro. And that's pretty much all they need to know. I will come over here and show you this. I usually don't come over here because I'm like, oh gosh, this is dirty. It's not dirty, it's just ugly. There's 8 SDI inputs. There's 4, I think those are DisplayPort outputs from the graphics card. And there's a bunch of USB, obviously. That's the Focusrite mixer there. So that is the, I think I said this wrong, it's the 18i8. And then we've got a little Shure wireless system, the BLX. And then down here, we have our Ubiquity Unify 48-port switch. Not using all the switches, but we've got that. So this is, I know, a little ugly back here, but that's the big tower PC. And then as you can see, once again, we've got Zoom running on one screen and speaker view. So that's why Tess is full screen there. And then we've got Vmix on that side. And then I don't know if we looked at that right there, but that's the confidence monitor. And oh, I guess some of the cameras. All the cameras are labeled. So we've got the name, and then that's the IP address. This is like the main camera right here. So again, you can see the label there. You can see.
Somebody asked if we turn the cameras off at the end of the day.
We do not. So these cameras all have a 3-year warranty, and they're literally, it's okay to leave them on 24/7. Now something that I changed slightly, and we didn't look at the lighting, so I'll show the lighting too. One of the things I did was I moved this television closer to this is my main camera. So the main camera has an angle, and it shoots. This wasn't even necessarily our main camera. It just became the main camera because we liked that cross shot. But also, I'm always looking at this confidence monitor to see what Mike is doing and what's live. So I wanted to put the camera really close to the confidence monitor. Why? Because I'm looking at the camera. And so I'm looking at the confidence monitor, but I want to look like I'm looking at the camera if at all possible. These are some of the lights here. So these are like the cross lights here. We also had this camera put in to show like more wide angle studio shots. It sweeps down. There it is there. Got a couple more lights here. One there, one there. This is that hair light. And then there's a couple lights that actually shoot upwards, which really give it some extra kind of oomph. So here's this again. So you guys have seen this. Please tell me about the second computer. So watch this. Watch when I do this. Okay. Will you please tell me about the second computer? Boop. And it pops right up. And I can even get rid of that by going right here. So I actually have full control over this. PTZ Optics, how are you doing in Westchester with the weather yesterday? My home is out of power. It's tricky. But let me tell you about the second computer. You know what? I'm so glad he said that. So asset protection training, I'm so glad you said that because that's the one thing we didn't look at. So there's a second computer over here, and the cable management's actually kind of gorgeous. Even though it looks really bad, it's actually really good. Look at how everything is on the table leg here. So we have the computer. That is an Intel NUC i7 Skull Canyon. They actually stopped making that. There's a new version. These Intel NUCs, they're just always making new versions. That's a small little network switch. All the power is all on the side. And then most of the cabling is good. There's so this is basically the PTZ Optics producer kit. There's a 4-port SDI input because these dual output PTZ Optics cameras have 2 SDI outputs. So one is a wide angle view for the podcast and one can actually zoom in. So that's really nice. And these cameras are really affordable too. They're all just clamp mounted to the table. And then I just clamp mounted this little keyboard tray so I could limit what's on the table. So really all that's on the table is this X keys controller, which controls this second Vmix system, which we showed is connected via NDI over to here. So we really have 3 NDI. I don't know if you want to get rid of that chat message, Mike. We've got 3 NDI connections. We've got the broadcast computer, my computer, and then this computer all connected together.
Do we do anything special to keep the studio cool?
We just have regular air conditioning. So just regular air conditioning. We pump it. We pump it strong. We really pump it.
I can imagine, especially when I'm not there, you guys do.
Yeah, when you were here, you would always complain about the it being too cold, but Michael and I don't mind it cold.
Well, I'm glad you guys are comfortable. Do we have a backup internet connection?
We do not, but we do have a live use LU600 backpack, which we have used as a backup. So regarding backups, actually, I think, well, you know what, Mike? Why don't we go to the side view shot and I'll show Easy Live. So technically what we have is we actually have a redundant system. So we're streaming to YouTube, or actually we are just streaming, to be honest, to Easy Live. And this is a cloud-based streaming system that actually allows us to mix multiple RTMP streams in the cloud, which is really fun, but also allows us to stream to, we're streaming to LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So one of the reasons why that's so nice is because we can, you know, hit all of those different platforms. And I can actually just click this little button here and boom, it'll jump me into LinkedIn. Click this button and I can check out Twitch. It doesn't work for the custom RTMPs on YouTube, but LinkedIn has been really great for us too. It's a great platform. We get a lot of profile views and things like that. But essentially, if this stream were to go down, or if our internet connection went out, it would still maintain a connection with our endpoints because it's in the cloud. And we could actually have a custom video play. We could have a secondary RTMP stream kick in, which we've done in the past. And so if anything happens, I have a live view backpack that boom, starts streaming to the cloud and can replace our original RTMP. So that's kind of cool.
For the Vmix social input, do we have a trigger set up to automatically bring up the overlay when the queued comment is selected and sent?
Yes, we do. So I'll show that one more time really quickly. So there's two ways that you can do it. You can have it just like automatically just choose something, or the way that we have it, I'll show this with my phone real quick, is that if I hit boom, send, it comes right up. And then, you know, right here, I can be like, boop, get rid of that. So that's the way, it's the easiest way to do it. If we do the queue, which I don't usually use very often, if I add these queues here, I can view the queue, and then that's a nice way to just see the queued comments. But we don't have it set up to send the queued ones automatically. It just sends it when I hit the send button. But you can have it set up so it automatically just sends everything. It's totally up to you what you want to do. I'm going to hit view all. How many UPSs are you running on an uninterrupted power supplies? None. And that is a problem. We probably should have a few of those. Mystic Mac is saying, have to try the Elgato Stream Deck. That's really fun. We do have one of those as well that we play around with. Do you have a standby generator in case of a power outage? No, we do not. If the power goes out, the power goes out. We go home.
It's happened before.
We're not quite at that level yet, and it has happened multiple times, and we either just switch to our live view backpack and leverage the cloud, which would be interesting. You know, you can have a computer in the cloud, like running Zoom, for example. In fact, you can stream from Zoom to a custom RTMP feed. So for some of our shows, I have streamed a second RTMP stream from Zoom to Easy Live as a backup. I've never had to actually use it. But like if our power went out, if our stream went down, the Zoom call could never go down because that's in the cloud. And you can actually stream that into something like Easy Live as a replacement for Vmix in the time of a power failure. So yes, we're using an i7 Intel NUC.
L. Fisher is asking, how do we accomplish getting NDI into our workflow? Through Vmix, he's using Blackmagic A10.
Yeah, so we're mainly using Vmix, but I will show you this device here. This is, and actually maybe I'll show it with our Zcam here, which we don't do very often. You gotta get real close up. This is a Magewell. It's called the Pro Convert for NDI. Get rid of this. Boop. And essentially on one side, it has HDMI output, USB for power, optionally, and the other side, it has NDI. So you can plug this in to your network, choose the NDI source you want to come out, and then connect it via HDMI directly into your Blackmagic video switcher or any video switcher supports HDMI. They have SDI versions of these. So that's a really cool option for, it's called an Ndi decoder. So I really like these. There's a couple different versions that you can check out from Magewell. And that's how we do it.
Corey wants to know how expensive the Telestrator is, the Ndi
Great question. Let me see here, Tess. Let me give you little horns there. And I'll put a little smiley face over here. It's a cool app. I really, really like it. What, you don't like that?
I actually look like a caterpillar, so I'm okay with that.
All right, how's that?
I'm kind of cute. That's fine.
No, the Ndi Telestrator from NewTek is $500. There is a version from another company that I forget their name that's only $99. So don't forget to take a look at it. NewTek's version is very simple and it works really well, so I went with that. But the Telestrator is great because, like I said, you can telestrate on live video. So that is something that you can't do a lot of times. Here we go. Mike's allowing me to show it a little bit better here. So this is the app here. Let me see if I can get a tilt that doesn't. There we go. So all the tools are down here. So you've got the ability to choose your color and do shapes, for example. So it's meant for like news broadcasters to be like, see right here? See where the play, had an issue? And they're playing back live video, and then getting rid of it. That's what it's designed for. So it's designed for high-end broadcast, really. Whereas, you look at some of the telestration tools from like Zoom, and that's for like a screen share of a PowerPoint. We're going to annotate on top of it. Now with Zoom, though, you can annotate on top of live video if you use the second camera feature. And it's for like bringing in a document camera for like a teacher, and they bring in the document camera and then they annotate on top of it. So I don't want to bash Zoom. It's a great product, but it's different. The Ndi Telestrator definitely is more for like live video sources.
Corey wants to know if the USB port on the Ptz Optics camera has enough power to charge a device like a Sling Studio Cam Link.
Oh, it's 5 watts. So it's not a lot, but it can do some things.
Did we try that when we were at the fashion show?
I don't think that we tried that.
Okay.
But so it's not a lot of power, but it can do some little things. Like I've tried plugging in like a USB fan or a USB light, things like that. They do work. So it can do some things, but not, I don't think it can pull off a whole Sling Studio Cam Link, but we'll have to try that. All right. Well, that concludes our studio tour, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We really appreciate it. I'll stick around the Zoom call to see if anybody is interested in asking extra questions from the Zoom call, and that's our show. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye.
I didn't know where it was. But there, I got your mosses, the baking soda.